Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. How you doing? Today's video is going to be a little different, as you can tell by my kitchen table that you're staring at. Also, ignore the light glares. They'll go away soon enough, and I change the lighting through the whole video anyway. I don't know what I'm doing. But getting to today's video, drum roll please. Okay, that's enough of that. I'm sorry. I'm going to be taking this. Oh, there's that glare again. There we go. I'm going to be taking this Winnie the Pooh coloring book and altering one of the pages inside to create a Winnie the Pooh and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World mashup. And the coloring page I have chosen to change up is none other than this one. And if you aren't familiar with Scott Pilgrim, the basic premise of the movie is Scott wants to be with Ramona, and in order to do so, he must defeat her exes. It's very funny, and I highly recommend you check it out. I have made an entire video in the past about some of the other coloring book parodies I have made, and I will link that in the corner and in the description if you want to go check those out. So, in today's video, we are not focusing on altering one character. No. We're going to do 8. We're going to make these 7 characters into Ramona's 7 deadly exes. And finally, we're going to make this guy right here into Scott Pilgrim himself. So let's not waste any more time and jump right into it. Starting off with Tigger here, I am going to transform him into Evil Ex number 1, Matthew Patel. So the first step is to sketch out the details I want to add in. So I'm going to start with his hair and work my way down, adding in his jacket, the stripes of his shirt, and his pants, all the while trying to keep in mind how the clothes would be naturally laying if Tigger were actually wearing them. Once I have the basic details sketched out and I'm happy with them, I'm going to start outlining and coloring them in. I prefer to use colored pencils when doing these parodies just because I feel like I have a little more control over precise details. Once I have all the black filled in, I'm going to color in the rest of his clothing, color matching as best as I can, and then finish off by coloring the rest of Tigger his normal colors. And there you have the before and after of Tigger into Matthew Patel. I'm pretty happy with how he turned out. I think his facial expression especially is very fitting of Matthew Patel's overall mood. Moving on, we have Pooh Bear number 1 of 5 that we will be transforming today. I've decided that he is going to be Evil Ex number 2, Lucas Lee. So once again, I'm starting off with sketching out the details for his face and then his clothing. Through this whole video, you're not going to see me erasing that much, and that's because I scanned this coloring page and printed it off on a normal sheet of printer paper to figure out ahead of time where I wanted all the lines to be. The paper in coloring books doesn't take well to lots of erasing, so whenever I have a page with lots of detail like this, I like to try figuring out the design before putting it on the final page. Moving on to the coloring, his t-shirt and jacket are both black, so to keep contrast, I pressed harder with the black to darken his shirt and used a lighter touch on the jacket. I love how adding a little dip in his eyebrow completely changed his entire demeanor. I did go a little extreme with the dip and tried to recover with some minor erasing later on, but it was too late and I ended up with a slight smudge on his forehead. Other than the smudge, I am very happy with this transformation of Pooh into Lucas Lee. This was probably my favorite just because of the complete attitude change you see. For Rabbit, being an herbivore, I thought it was only fitting that I transform him into the vegan Evil Ex, Todd Ingram. Right from the start, his eyes caused issues, but we'll get back to those. The majority of Todd's outfit is white, so there wasn't a lot of detail to put in. I did try to angle the 3 on his shirt slightly to match the position Rabbit's standing in. Also discovered that Converse are more tricky to draw than I thought. But back to those eyes. They're supposed to be glowing white, and I made the fatal mistake of outlining where I wanted them to be with black colored pencil before coloring them in with white. That resulted in a muddled gray color. I tried going over it with silver in hopes that it would lend to that glowy effect, but it instead muddled it more. I decided I was going to have to cheat and use something other than colored pencil to fix this. So what did I reach for? Whiteout. And not the liquid kind that would have probably worked. We didn't have any of that. But that roly stuff that barely works half the time on normal, not colored on paper. Needless to say, that didn't work. In the end, I used a tiny bit of white acrylic paint to entirely wipe out all the mistakes, and unfortunately the original lines of the eyes as well. Overall, I am happy with this transformation, but I don't like covering the original drawing when making coloring book parodies. I did make an exception here because of the mess I made of it before. This tiny Pooh Bear is going to transform into one of the Evil X twins, Kyle Katayanagi. During the sketching phase of this one, I do a fantastic job of covering most of your view of what I'm doing with my hand. You're welcome. But really, I do really like how his shirt design turned out and how it lends to the illusion of him wearing a sleeveless shirt. And also, his Converse were way more easily recognized as Converse. This was a very simple transformation and as a result did not take very long to do at all, but I still think it turned out very nice. Next up, we're going to be transforming the second largest Pooh Bear into the baddest of the X's, Gideon Graves. Funny enough, Gideon is the first of these transformations in which the sketching did not start with his hair. When I was sketching his jacket, I made the decision to leave the front open instead of buttoned up like his poster shows. This was to allow for a bit more detail and color to be added since his jacket was all white. I also had a fun time trying to imagine what sort of evil tricks he had in that honey jar he seemed so eager to give as a gift. I also tried adding a little shading around his jacket sleeves in hopes of giving it some more dimension. And here is the before and after for Mr. Gideon Graves. I do really enjoy this one, and I also really like how something as simple as a pair of glasses can set this Pooh Bear so far apart from all of the other Pooh Bears. Jumping right into the next transformation, we have twin number 2, Ken Katayanagi. Now, much like Todd we did earlier, Ken sports a mostly white wardrobe. His shirt, however, did offer a few black accents that helped me to make this transformation a little more interesting. I did learn from my mistakes with Todd, eyes, and made sure to color all of the white in before outlining everything with black. And I know you may be wondering, but yes, coloring with white does make a difference on these off-white coloring book pages. The final Evil X we will be creating today is on Eeyore here, and that is Roxy Richter. Eeyore gave me a unique challenge in that I had to draw Roxy with her back to me. Another challenge I had to face was that almost her entire outfit was black. I used the same idea I had with Lucas and colored certain areas darker than others to tell them apart. I love how this transformation turned out and especially love how funny it is to see Roxy as Eeyore when their personalities are very, very different. And now it's the time you've all been waiting for.
No one's been waiting for this.
Okay, well I have. It's time to transform the last, the best Pooh Bear into the hero of the movie, Scott Pilgrim. I don't know why, but I knew from the beginning that I wanted this Pooh Bear to be Scott. There was just something about him that said, "You're a good guy." I gave him his classic bass guitar t-shirt and slightly messy hair to complete his look. And this is the final transformation! But don't worry, there is still one more step that I want to do. So here are all of the characters completed, but looking at it, I thought the background looked a little plain. So what I did was I took these numbers, 1 through 7, that I'd cut out from a copy I practiced on earlier, and traced them behind the characters, matching each number with the corresponding Evil X. Now, because all of the characters are different sizes, I couldn't make the numbers line up perfectly behind each character without them running into each other, so I decided to embrace that and make the numbers slightly oversized. I started from the bottom and worked my way up, giving them a purposely overlapped look, and then I finished by coloring them all in red. And this is the final completed transformation of this coloring book page. If you look, I did go ahead and add just a tiny extra detail at the very top where it says how many Poohs do you count. I changed that to X's, and in the answer box at the bottom, changed that to 7. So just an extra little touch in there that I thought was appropriate. But let me know in the comments below if you guys enjoyed this, if you want to see more videos like this, because I would 100% make more videos like this. And if you have any suggestions of different themes you want me to try to turn coloring book pictures into, let me know which one of these transformations was your favorite. This was a pretty massive transformation to try to tackle for my very first video of doing this. Most of them will not be this in-depth. Possibly in the future, if I do more, I'll do 2 or 3 that are much smaller than this, on a much smaller scale. But again, just let me know. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss any new videos that I put out there. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye!